05:45 a.m. local time, June 17, 2025, in waters 65 nautical miles northeast of Djibouti, a strategic gateway to the Red Sea. What seemed like a calm morning was shattered by the roar of 3 speedboats slicing through the water, leaving white wakes as they sped toward the cargo ship MV Leviathan. This was no ordinary cargo vessel. Intelligence indicated it was carrying Iron Dome air defense components and precision-guided munitions for Israel at a time when tensions with Houthi forces were rapidly escalating. In less than 90 seconds, masked men on the speedboats opened fire with heavy machine guns, spraying the Leviathan's deck with suppressive fire. At the same time, a small armed UAV, remotely piloted, slammed directly into the ship's communications antenna, cutting off all radio contact with the crew. No one had time to react. This attack looked nothing like a typical act of piracy. The immediate question arose: who orchestrated such a bold move? Was it mere pirates desperate for profit, or was this a covert link in the Yemen-Israel conflict delivering a bloody message? In this video, we will reveal never-before-published intelligence about this covert weapons transport route and how the United States responded with advanced military technology and tactics that shocked the world. Stay until the end to uncover military secrets the U.S. has never officially disclosed. MV Leviathan, a large container ship registered in Liberia, known mainly for industrial and civilian cargo contracts, was carrying a special load this time: Iron Dome air defense components and precision-guided munitions, departing from Limassol, Cyprus, and scheduled to arrive at Ashdod, Israel within 72 hours. That information alone made it a perfect target. The attackers posed as local fishermen, but their method of operation revealed planning and capability far beyond ordinary piracy. Later analysis confirmed direct links between the group and an armed faction affiliated with the Houthis operating off the coasts of Somalia and Yemen. The attack combined asymmetric tactics and low-cost but highly effective technology. A commercially available drone retrofitted with a 5-kilogram TNT warhead was flown directly into the Leviathan's antenna array, cutting all satellite and radio communications. As the crew scrambled to respond, 3 high-speed boats closed in, and heavily armed gunmen stormed the deck, seizing control of the vessel within minutes. Initial outcome: cargo was not completely stolen. A surprise, but at least 8 containers were broken open and inspected. 1 crew member was seriously injured by shrapnel from the drone explosion near the bridge. The incident carried powerful symbolic weight. The MV Leviathan was not just another cargo ship, but represented Israel's strategic supply chain, and the attack was viewed as a direct strike on regional security confidence. The consequences were immediate. International shipping routes were temporarily disrupted, marine insurance premiums spiked by 20% within hours, and the Baltic Dry Index surged sharply. Global media outlets flooded the story, instantly turning the Red Sea into a focal point of worldwide attention. Upon receiving the intermittent distress call from the Leviathan, the U.S. Navy destroyer USS Mason DDG-87, on a freedom of navigation escort mission in the Red Sea, immediately altered course, accelerating to 30 knots toward the scene. The Arleigh Burke-class warship, fully equipped with advanced defense and strike systems, was built for moments like this. Within minutes, an MH-60R Seahawk lifted off from the Mason's flight deck, locking targets with its AN/APS-153 AESA radar and scanning the dark waters with FLIR infrared sensors. Detecting a small drone still circling overhead, likely designating targets for the attackers, the AN/SLQ-32 electronic warfare suite was activated, jamming and neutralizing the drone's control link. The tension peaked when one of the 3 speedboats turned its gun on the U.S. helicopter, firing bursts of heavy machine gun rounds. The USS Mason immediately responded with warning shots from its phalanx CYWS, forcing 2 boats to retreat. The remaining boat was disabled by 25mm Mark 38 Mod 2 cannon fire, eliminating its mobility. Result: the Leviathan's crew was rescued safely, with the injured crewman medevaced to a nearby medical vessel. Several attackers were captured on site, yielding valuable intelligence that revealed a chain of temporary pirate bases along the Somali coast, suspected to be staging hubs for weapons moving out of Yemen. This was not just a successful rescue mission, but a clear strategic message. The United States will use force to defend its allies' supply lines and uphold international maritime stability. Immediately after the attack, Israel reacted with unprecedented speed. The Israeli defense minister declared bluntly at a press conference, "This is not an act of ordinary piracy. This is an irregular naval force backed by Iran, trained and equipped to disrupt international maritime order." The announcement immediately raised Israel's maritime security alert level to level 4 or level 5, just short of full wartime posture. 2 Sayar 5-class corvettes were urgently deployed to the Red Sea to coordinate with U.S. forces, forming a heavily armed protective corridor around strategic shipping routes. On the U.S. side, the response was twofold: military and diplomatic. Militarily, the Pentagon activated its space reconnaissance network using Maxar commercial satellites and deployed MQ-9B Sea Guardian long-range drones to map all suspected staging points along the coasts of Somalia and Yemen, believed to be launch sites for the attackers. Diplomatically, Washington sent a direct warning note to the Yemeni authorities in Houthi-controlled territory and called for an emergency UN Security Council session on maritime security and the escalating regional conflict. A military analyst described the situation with a striking metaphor. A small punch to the eye of a giant may not blind it, but it changes the way the giant sees the world around it. The significance of this attack lay not in physical damage, but in political and strategic provocation. The clear message: this was not mere piracy. It was a test of U.S. and Israeli resolve to protect maritime security and proof that regional conflict is shifting from land to sea with far greater complexity. Just 48 hours after the MV Leviathan attack, the Pentagon approved a limited punitive operation to send an unmistakable message: any threat to Allied maritime supply lines will be met with immediate force. SEAL Team 5 and U.S. Marine raiders were deployed to Hafun, Somalia, a remote peninsula long suspected of being a logistics hub for pirate groups tied to Houthi-aligned forces. Before the landing, RQ-21 Blackjack stealth drones were launched to conduct high-resolution reconnaissance and guide the strike team. At the same time, EA-18G Growler electronic warfare aircraft from a nearby carrier activated the AN/ALQ-99 jamming system, plunging the entire target area into communications blackout. No satellite links, no radio, no early warning transmissions. In just 22 minutes of combat, the base was completely neutralized. A hidden weapons cache containing dozens of Nor anti-ship missiles, an Iranian upgraded version of the C-802, was destroyed. 12 suspects were captured, and immediate interrogation revealed direct links between the pirates and technical advisors from Yemen, exposing a tightly organized, irregular armed network. A Pentagon spokesperson delivered a short but powerful statement: "There is no safe haven for pirates and illicit arms suppliers." In response, the Houthis issued their own statement: "We are not involved, but we support all actions against the transport of weapons that kill civilians in Gaza." Instead of de-escalation, the situation shifted into a phase of political escalation, signaling a risk of expansion far beyond initial expectations. The MV Leviathan attack and the subsequent military response exposed a new reality. Asymmetric conflict is expanding from land to international maritime routes. Rather than large-scale fleets, irregular armed groups now only need modified civilian technologies, commercial drones fitted with explosives, high-speed boats, and reverse-engineered anti-ship missiles to challenge global powers and cripple critical shipping lanes. A defense analyst used a haunting analogy. If the Red Sea is the bloodstream of world trade, then every attack is like a blood clot threatening to stop the global flow at any moment. Even a single incident triggered skyrocketing insurance premiums, forced shipping companies to reroute around the Cape of Good Hope, and clearly demonstrated the economic impact of asymmetric warfare. To counter this in the long term, the U.S., Israel, and NATO allies agreed to deploy a joint escort task force, combining low-orbit surveillance satellites, AI-based route analysis, and long-range UAV patrols for early threat detection. They also enhanced cybersecurity information sharing to prevent UAV hijacking or remote hacking. These measures aim not only to stop piracy, but also to send a firm message: the international maritime order cannot be undermined by irregular forces. 21st century piracy no longer looks like men with eye patches, striped shirts, and curved swords. It is the product of proxy wars, irregular groups fueled by regional conflict and equipped with cheap but lethal technologies, explosive-laden commercial drones, modified fast boats, and even cloned anti-ship missiles from outdated military designs. The MV Leviathan attack highlighted a sobering truth. Any nation dependent on maritime trade is vulnerable unless it upgrades its defenses and modernizes infrastructure protection. This is not just Israel's or America's problem. It is a lesson for the entire global trade system. The Yemen-Israel conflict has now spilled beyond geographic borders, turning the Red Sea, a critical trade artery, into a laboratory of hybrid warfare, where military action, low-cost technology, and psychological operations converge. If you believe in the value of truth and the lessons of global security, share this video, hit like, subscribe, and help us spread accurate information to prevent future crises. Thank you, and see you in the next video.